I respect this, but this I don't like. The Rays are smoking, absolutely smoking. 10 of 11, all right, and they've won. They're kicking our behinds. I mean, they're really making the Yankees look bad. Now, the Yankees are banged up, but last night they had a couple of bombs off of Garrett Cole. They moved within a half game of New York. Second baseman Brandon Lau, who's been phenomenal. He's got 8 home runs this year. At OPS is over 1,100. Former Cy Young winner Blake Snell is off to a nice start. His ERA is right around 3. He's 2-0 in 5 starts. So the question, as the Rays continue to rock, the Rays are legit World Series contenders.
I mean, if they pitch the way that they have been the last couple of nights, and more importantly, if their bats stay as hot as they've been, of course they are. I mean, anything can happen in this 60-game season. We've said this over and over and over again. And we haven't even had to get into, creative bullpenning yet with them because of the nature of the season. We know that Kevin Cash is one of the best at that, so absolutely they are.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, even if the Yankees swept them, I would still say that they're legit World Series contenders. They catch the baseball. They play aggressively. They run the bags hard. I love the way they play the game, and this is not the cute little story, the little teeny tiny Rays who are overachieving. Their farm system is phenomenal. Now, to be fair, I mean, Aaron Judge hasn't played in a week. Stanton, who was red hot, hurt. DJ LeMay, who was hitting 420, out. I mean, you're talking about your leadoff man, your second hitter, and your cleanup guy for arguably the best offense in baseball. So the Yankees, I know the Yankees need another starting pitcher, but there's something about the Rays that they just have this they don't fear the Yankees. Most teams do. They don't fear them. They look them in the eye, and they out-fundamental them. And last night was a bad night for Aaron Boone. It's very hard to really, or boring, for a national show to dissect mismanagement on the part of a skipper. He had a myriad bad moves last night. I mean, first of all, he should have let Tauchman hit, even though it's lefty-lefty, whatever. I'm going to get in the weeds here. But he wound up pulling Frazier. Frazier's spot came up. That hurt them there. He pulled Garrett Cole when I would not have pulled Garrett Cole. Cole was not happy about it, which I don't blame him. Aaron Boone has not had a good series, but the Rays are absolutely legit. Yes, they are a World Series contender. Our buddy Trevor Bauer, who's pitching, is behind off, by the way.
I
Trevor
know.
Bauer's been great.
Because he's all gassed up going into the season, man.
Yeah, plus the Tiki and Tierney mojo.
That's right.
Could have said that as well.
Good point.
Never shies away from going after baseball than Rob Manfred, as we know. Now, his latest beef comes as the league refused to allow him to wear free Joe Kelly cleats. Bauer then tweeted, quote, MLB threatened to eject, suspend, and fine me if I wore them. Earlier this year, baseball said players could put whatever they want on their cleats so long as it wasn't political or offensive. So how does following the rules equal ejection, suspension, or fines? End quote. In or out? Baseball should allow Bauer to wear his free Joe Kelly cleats.
I mean, based on what he said, what they said, I got to say inbounds. I mean, is this offensive to Rob Manfred possibly? then I guess so. But yeah, why not let him wear the cleats? We all know that it's the elephant in every ballpark that the Astros play in. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's not going to go away just because he's not wearing the cleats. So might as well let him wear the cleats. Inbounds.
Listen, I really like Trevor Bauer, but he's a little much with these tweets. He really is. He's going a little overboard.
Dude, he's being Mr. Literal. What's wrong with that?
I know, true.
You can wear whatever you want on your cleats so long as it isn't political or offensive. So I'm assuming that saying free Joe Kelly is offensive to somebody, in particular Rob Manfred.
Rob Manfred, correct. But he tweets about everything.
Of course he does.
He's such a locker room lawyer. I mean, he's a smart guy. We like him. We've had him on the show, and he's pitching really well. Every day I see a Bauer tweet. Every single day.
Stop following him.
This. Well, I follow. He's interesting. Out. You can't allow him to wear that. Come on. You just can't, because number one, even if that's relatively benign, which I don't really think it is, you're basically sticking your thumb at the commissioner's office, which you can't have. It's just it's disrespectful. But it also somewhat disrespectful. But it also opens up a door for other interpretation down the road for perhaps something that is a little bit more insensitive or egregious or more cutting. So I think you rule on this early, you don't allow them to do it, and you probably preemptively snuff out anybody else who's thinking about doing the same thing if and when that should arise. So stay out of bounds. I wouldn't let them wear it either. The NFL season just a few weeks away, and while some teams like the Chiefs, and the Cowboys and the Steelers expect to have limited fans at games. Other teams like the Titans, the Jets, the Giants, the Eagles, no fans at games, at least for now. Now, the NFL is apparently considering a league-wide policy to allow fan noise in stadiums, though, as we know, some stadiums are louder than others historically. So, in or out, the NFL should vary the volume of crowd noise based on how many fans are in the stands, as well as the stadium's historical loudness level.
Come on.
Welcome to a pandemic question.
Yeah, what the hell are we talking about here? Just put in some benign crowd noise. It's really for the at-home TV audience anyways. It's not going to make a difference to the guys on the field because it's not going to feel the same. Yeah, there'll be noise and it makes it louder in some regards, but I see a opportunity for some, I don't know, skewing one way or another. Yeah, for the guy who rides the board. I mean, we don't have D-Cell over there doing this for these games. We can trust D-Cell. I don't know if we can trust all these board ops that would be riding the the switchboards for the sound. So should vary. I'm gonna say out of bounds. No, I mean, come on, I'm getting a little complicated. It's football.
The Pats are already knee deep in resumes trying to find the best one. I guess I could answer this either way. I'm going to say out of bounds. I'm down for a uniform, all-encompassing injection of noise here. And I understand how Mike is framing the question. I understand what he's chasing. Like some place like Arrowhead is just exponentially louder than the Jaguars.
Yeah, you're right.
It is what it is. But I don't know how. I mean, I guess you can. I know they have that little decibel needle. Get loud, crowd, get loud. But is that really accurate? I mean, I was going to say, how can you truly prove the stadium level of audio? I don't know. I guess you can guess, and then maybe that's why I say I'm kind of torn because yes, certain stadiums historically have carved out such a home field advantage. You almost want to give them to that. You want to give it to them now, because if their fans were in the house, they'd still be blasting and popping, but. There's just too much to interpret, too much nuance there, a little shade of gray. So I'll say out of bounds. Just, one uniform, whatever level it is, that's what every stadium's got to adhere to. And if you color outside the lines, you get fined, whatever it is. ACC forging ahead, at least for now, with their season, football. However, spikes in positive testing both in North Carolina and Notre Dame's campuses have forced both schools to return to virtual learning and caused both programs to cancel practices both on Tuesday and Wednesday. Though just 2 Irish players tested positive, while UNC players seem to have avoided infection. Mac Brown said students going to full-time remote learning would create is a quote, a better seal around our program and a better bubble. So, in or out, considering the current situations both in South Bend and Chapel Hill, the ACC football season is more likely to proceed as planned.
I'm still on record that I think college football doesn't get played this season, so I'm going to say out of bounds. It is interesting though that what Mac Brown said. We talked about this earlier in the show. We talked about it earlier in the week because of the coronavirus outbreak on campus down there. They actually have a better opportunity to take care of their kids, which is unique, and it's interesting. And then it's not something that you would intuitively think would be the outcome with the surge in outbreaks on grounds. Now the problem that I think all colleges are going to have if students are on campus is the testing just can't keep up. They didn't allow it at Notre Dame. They didn't require testing for the kids to come back on campus, the students, not the student athletes, the regular students.
Yep.
And as a result, you get these outbreaks, and you got to assume that the student athletes, in this case the football players, are going to be smart. But they're 18, 19 years old. The likelihood of that happening is not, consistent, unless all of these ACC schools go remote learning only. So I'm going to say out of bounds.
Yeah, I'm going to say out of bounds as well. I've had this position, unfortunately, from May. There's no Big Ten. We know that. We know there's no Pac-12. So the ACC is supposed to start September 10th. The Big 12 September 12th, and then the SEC September 26th. And I'm sitting here today. What is it, the 19th? I think it is. Is it August 19th? August 20th
already.
Wow.
Yeah. 3 weeks away, man. It's 3 weeks.
That's why I'm sitting here saying out of bounds, and I just think it's incredibly ambitious. I'm not going to use the word, reckless. I appreciate trying to get this. Listen, just because the Big Ten thinks this doesn't mean that you need to subscribe to the same thought process. Trust your medical people. Maybe they have different, although I don't know how you can, but I guess they do have different medical opinions. You'd like to have one universal medical opinion. That's part of the problem with this virus. But, plow away and just keep moving the goalposts. If you have to kick it back, rather than pulling the plug now. Give yourself every chance to play. I get it. I respect it. But I don't see it happening. So I'm going to say out of bounds, too.
Tune in next time for another edition of Inbounds or Out of Bounds with Tiki and Tierney.